This morning, Sheriff Garry McFadden is responding after state lawmakers demanded that he turn over all communication between his office and ICE.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning outside the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office in Uptown. And Richard, that's just one of a number of demands the House lawmakers are making of Sheriff McFadden.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Lisa. Good morning to you. Good morning, Ben. Good Thursday morning, everyone. All of this is stemming from that meeting, that oversight meeting held this past Monday in the state's capital. Now, that meeting was held to discuss, amongst other things, cats. But most of the attention turned to Sheriff McFadden and how he answered when he was questioned by that oversight committee. One leader of the committee calling his answers laughable. Lawmakers say the sheriff, who was questioned for hours, did not clearly answer their questions during the hearings. Now, they also described Garry McFadden as combative and resistant. Those GOP leadership. In a letter sent Wednesday, the House Oversight Committee ordered McFadden to turn over records by February the 28th. Those documents include emails with federal immigration officials pertaining to emails back last March, jail operations, inmate deaths, as well as McFadden's travel expenses. The request comes as state leaders face growing concerns about safety on cats after several violent incidents and a federal audit that found multiple safety problems. Now, Democrat lawmakers criticize the hearings, calling it political theater, while Republicans say the records are needed to make sure the sheriff's office is being transparent. We spoke to the sheriff, who says the meetings and the items the committee is seeking are not about public safety on the light rail.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to talk about an insane video that is going viral featuring Mecklenburg County Sheriff Garry McFadden. Okay, this is in North Carolina. Mecklenburg County is basically Charlotte. This is a House Oversight Committee on crime and public safety in Charlotte, whether or not this sheriff is doing his job when it comes to cooperating with the federal government and ICE. And he got questioned during this House Oversight Committee. And let's just say this guy got absolutely embarrassed by Republicans because he was unable to answer basic questions that I think every public official should be able to answer. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this, because this was so humiliating that Democrats are now crying public lynching of a black man, right? Because this guy was not able to answer simple questions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
I will. Sheriff McFadden, I understand that you are under investigation, part of litigation, what have you. I'm going to try to stay as far away from those issues as I can. But I will very plainly ask you to answer my questions quickly, concisely, and not go on a long tirade, because I'm going to do my best not to be disrespectful. I don't want my time wasted either. So first, if I were to classify your position as the highest law enforcement officer in the county, would that be a fair description?
That's correct.
And as such, you made reference earlier that you're a constitutional office. My colleague made reference that there are constitutional divisions amongst responsibilities between us and you. What branch of government do you operate under?
Mecklenburg County.
What branch of government do you operate under, Sheriff?
Constitution of the United States.
Correct. That is what establishes the branches of government. I'm asking which branch you fall under.
Mecklenburg County. I'm a duly sworn Mecklenburg County Sheriff. We answer to the people of Mecklenburg County.
This was not where I was anticipating getting stuck. Are you aware how many branches of government there are?
No.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
For the sake of debate, I will move on and say there are three branches of government: legislative, executive, judicial.
Wow.
Of those three, which do you believe you fall under?
I believe I fall under the last one.
Would you say it to me?
Judicial.
Okay. You are incorrect, sir. You fall under the executive. And as a member of the executive, what do you believe your primary function is?
Care and custody of those in my custody at the Mecklenburg County Detention Center.
Wow. 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 I am speechless. This was embarrassing on so many levels. It's like, bro, we have a sitting sheriff. Again, this is an elected position, right? An elected position, okay? And he doesn't even know the three branches of government. He doesn't know what branch of the government he falls under, right? Which is the executive branch, right? Law enforcement. But he's a sitting sheriff. Fascinating. Fascinating. We're not sending our best. We're really not. Right? We're not sending our best. We're not. We're not. This is who people vote for. Yeah, this guy, right? He should be the highest ranking law enforcement official in Mecklenburg County, right? Which again, we're talking about Charlotte, not a small county, right? A large county, okay? He's responsible for, fighting crime, protecting folks, locking up criminals, executing on law enforcement, but he doesn't even understand basic civics. Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
That is part of what your responsibilities as sheriff are, sure. But as a member of the executive, your primary function is to execute upon the law, to enforce the law, okay? And again, I'm not trying to be rude, not trying to be combative, just walking you through the paces. I used to wear a badge as well, okay? So, as the sheriff, do you take an oath of office?
I do.
And in that oath, I'm going to read it right off the screen, and I'm going to ask you if you agree with it. Okay. So there's a portion that says you will execute the office of the sheriff of the county of Mecklenburg for you, sir, to the best of your knowledge and ability, agreeable to law. Is that a fair representation of the oath you swore to?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And the agreeable to law, what do you think that means?
Following the law.
Following the law.
Following the law. Not opinions, following the law.
I would agree. Thank you. With that, do you think your personal opinions have any authority to override statute? Or
No.
Do you believe your office holds any authority to nullify law?
No.
Okay. So how do you reconcile that with the public statements that you've made about not enforcing the law?
I've never said I'm not enforcing the law.
With respect, I'm going to read a direct quote from you, sir. It says, quote, "We do not have a role in enforcement whatsoever. We do not have to follow the rules and the laws that are governed by our lawmakers in Raleigh," end quote.
We were talking about, again, you're taking the content of what I said when we are talking about immigration.
So you're talking about existing law and how you don't have to follow it. I'll allow you to expand on context if you like.
No.
Yeah, context is, I think, the word that he was looking for. Yeah, this is not a good look, right? This is not a good look for black excellence. I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry.
I don't need to expand. I'm saying that
Wow.
we follow the law. Again, you are taking something out of context to make a point.
Okay, so if the law says you must comply with detainers, and you're saying earlier in your testimony, you said that in your opinion, because of who they are or aren't signed by, you view that as not binding. What ruling, because the law is very clear, so what court ruling are you hedging that belief on?
I don't think that a detainer is state law.
But it is.
Now,
The compliance
no.
of a ICE detainer is settled state law.
As of
What ruling are you hanging that on?
if you let me answer, now it is state law. House Bill 318 now is state law, and we are complying with that law. Now,
Previously, it was state law.
in House Bill 10, we're referring to North Carolina General Statute, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah,
A, B,
we play
and
with
C.
those every day here, sir.
Right. So we follow the law. we follow the law.
So how do you reconcile that with the statement that I just read that was a direct quote from you?
It was,
That you don't have to follow the law. And you've already said that you don't believe that you have the authority of nullification.
again, you're taking it out of a context of an immigration law.
I will allow you as much leeway as you need to explain the context.
That's all I'm going to explain. You're talking about immigration law.
You know what I love about this? You know what I absolutely love about this hearing? This is the way that hearings should work, okay? Federal politicians, right? National level politicians, take note. You don't need to continue to talk over the guest, right? The people who are supposed to be testifying. You don't have to talk over them. You don't have to reclaim your time, right? Constantly. You don't have to berate them. You don't have to put on a show. All you got to do is let them talk, right? I love the fact that this rep is letting this guy talk, because the more that this guy talks, the more that he hangs himself, right? I know that, you know, blacks, right? Black people probably get triggered by saying something like that about a black sheriff, but metaphorically, right? That's what's happening. This guy, he is not representing himself well. Let's be honest. Guys like him should not be in public office. Let's just keep it all the way 100. Like, voters should be ashamed of themselves, right? Voters should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this guy to get in office. So, again, you know, I wish that Congress at a federal level would run their hearings like this. Let the individuals talk. Don't make it a show. Let them talk. This dude is talking, right? And the show is happening anyways, right? So, yeah. I mean, this is embarrassing. Look
A
at this guy
detainer
laughing.
is not.
I am not. I think you were talking about immigration law when you made this statement. I am simply talking about broad spectrum application of the law and your job to enforce it, sir.
That is where you're taking it out of context.
I've offered you the opportunity to place it in context. I am not trying to lead you astray. I'm giving you the opportunity to make clear your statement, sir.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
these aren't gotchas. He's just saying, hey, what is the context, right? You made this statement. What is the context of the statement? And this dude refuses to explain it, right? He doesn't want to explain it.
So much. Simply, we follow the law. When the law is produced, we follow the law.
One closing statement, Mr. Chair. You're recognized. Thank you. Again, I have no intentions as someone who wore the badge to disparage the badge or the man wearing it or the office of which you hold. I promise you that. As a military veteran, as a former law enforcement officer, as someone who's fallen under a chain of command and been a participant in a chain of command, I have serious concerns with your testimony you provided today and the statements that I've seen you make in the past, where it seems like we often get to see real leaders step up and say, the buck stops here. I've never heard anyone with the rank that is on your shoulders, sir, say that nothing is their fault, that no blame belongs on them. I've heard you blame staff. I've heard you blame lobbyists. I've heard you blame the legislature. I have not heard you take responsibility for a single question that we have asked you today. And that, sir, is disheartening to me. And I don't think it is going to be conducive to us building a relationship where we can work together in the future. You have accused us of being combative. I have not tried to be combative with you today, and you are still refusing to answer questions, very simple, basic questions. And so with that, Mr. Chair, I yield my time.
Yeah. Again, that is the way a hearing should be conducted, right? Let's keep it 100. It was so bad for this guy. So bad, right? That this dude started crying public lynching, right? Public lynching, okay, of a black man, racism, because he got embarrassed so bad. Let's listen to this.
It was the public lynching of a black sheriff. I hate to say that. I have people call me to say it was a public lynching. We're going to repay you for everything that you caused us to do. When we talk about House Bill 10, House Bill 318, you think about this. This meeting was called because of the stabbing of this young lady. Never was there a question about the stabbing of this young lady. Never a question about what we're doing to make the city and county safe inside the boundaries of the city and county.
McFadden also says he plans to comply with the House Oversight Committee request. Of course, we will keep you posted.
Public lynching. This man crying public lynching. Hey, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. You lynched yourself, right? You lynched yourself with the way that you answered those questions, okay? That's what happened. I'm keeping it all the way 100, right? I'm keeping it all the way 100. So, you know, I mean, look, these people got to stop crying racism, man. It's a bad look, okay? You got embarrassed. You didn't know to answer the basic questions like, what's the 3 branches of government, or, you know, what branch do you fall under? You didn't answer the questions. You didn't know, right? And just own up to it. Learn, educate yourself, take a civics class, and get better. But it was a public lynching, racism, hate, bigotry. Not a good look, dude. Not a good look. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.